So I haven't done one of these videos before, but my best friend um, thought that it would be a good idea, and I am a verbal processor, so I think it will too. Hopefully it's not too crazy and all over the place for viewers, but okay, so starting off, I'm Ellie, and I have had a very hard past 3 years or so. And through it all, God has been super faithful, and I just want to share pieces of my journey with you. So I'm going to start off today talking about a session that I had in therapy. Yes, I've been going to therapy and counseling for the past 3 years, an hour once a week. It has been the best thing that I could do for myself, for my health, my mental health, spiritual, physical. I highly recommend it. I know there's lots of stigmas. That conversation's for another time, another day though. Today, I just wanted to talk about a therapy that my counselor is using right now called EMDR, which is eye movement rapid desensitization. Desensitization. It's hard to say that word. EMDR is easier. Basically, it's this little machine that has your therapist or your counselor holds a little box that has little control dials on it, and then there's little cords and wires, and it breaks out into two little handheld pods, for lack of a better word, that the client holds onto, and these little pods vibrate and pulse, and the little controls that the therapist or counselor uses controls the pulse. So how fast it's going, how soft or how forcefully it's vibrating in your hands. And what this is supposed to do is it's supposed to force both sides of your brain, the left and the right side, to work together. And so when one side is pulsing, your left side will be firing, and then the other side is pulsing, the right side's firing. And as you're holding these, you recount a story, a memory, a dream, a feeling. It could be anything really. And you close your eyes, you hold these, you try to concentrate on the vibration, and you also are talking about your memory or your story or your dream. And it's just forcing both your sides of your brain, all your emotions to work, and all your logic and all of that to work at the same time, so that you can better understand your body, better understand that memory. Sometimes the memory becomes more clear, you remember more, and that's why it's really important to do this with a trained counselor or therapist. Anyways, that's the background on that. But so I've been doing this the last couple of months or so with my therapist, and let me tell you, it has been a ride. It's been crazy, kind of scary, but it has been so helpful and really amazing, the insight that I found into myself, my psyche, and even my relationship with the Lord. And so let me just jump right in. I was, last week I started talking about this memory that I have, and it's a very traumatic memory. It's really sad. It's a memory that floods me a lot. Have a lot of nightmares about it. When I have trauma triggers, I usually remember it. Just not nice. And I knew that I needed to work this out, because I couldn't live a healthy, functional life with this kind of psychological torture and trauma. So, just a warning, could get a little graphic. If you at any time feel like you can't handle it or it's triggering you, please just stop this video. Private message me if you feel like talking about it, or just pray and find a therapist. But so here we go. I got married almost 3 years ago. This October, it's 2015. I got married in October 2012. He was perfect, wonderful. Everybody loved him. I was head over heels. Seemed to love the Lord. Really everything I ever wanted. Everything seemed to line up. I had a really close relationship with the Lord and with my family, and everything just seemed amazing. And so I married this wonderful man, and then the wedding night happened. And this was one of my very first experiences of abuse in my marriage. And it was not pretty. It was very violent sexual abuse. And I was raped multiple times that night. And then kind of just left there to fend for myself. I was a virgin, and as a virgin, never had experienced, penetrating sex before, and so there was no foreplay, no anything to get my body comfortable and in the spot where I was not tense. And I ripped and I tore, and I was crying. It was extremely painful. I begged him to stop, and he would just keep telling me, "It's okay, I love you. It hurts at first, it's gonna get better, I promise." And when I asked him to stop again, he spoke softly again. He stroked the side of my face, kissed me, but at the same time was so forceful, and it hurt so bad, and I was begging him to stop. And finally, he just pushed his arms down on my shoulders and told me to relax and that I was going to be okay. And it got even more forceful, more hard, more painful. And I realized then that he wasn't going to stop. And maybe sex just hurt like this. And maybe the only way to get it to stop hurting is just to do it until it stops. And no, I didn't think I was being raped. I mean, he's my husband. I love him. I thought he loved me. I had no prior knowledge that he could be abusive in any way. So my mind was confused. I didn't know what to think. And so I kind of just was there, but I wasn't there. My mind was just so confused. And when it was finally over, he kind of just rolled over, and it was like, well, I guess that's that. I was in so much screaming pain that I couldn't really move. My first thought, though, was, oh, I need to go clean myself up. I'm a bride. I'm supposed to be pretty. I'm supposed to be presentable. And I feel like this is gross. I feel like this is not right, not okay. And so I go to get up, and my head starts swimming, and I kind of just pass out a little bit. I put my hand over to try to find my husband, and he wasn't there. He had moved over in the bed so far that I couldn't touch him. And so then I realized, well, I'm going to have to do this myself. And I kind of moved, so I kind of fell off the bed and crawled to the bathroom. And when I got to the bathroom, I was so dizzy and so nauseous that I was throwing up. And then I kind of just slumped down, and next thing I know, I'm like waking up, and I look down. It was just probably a few minutes. I don't know. I look down, and there's blood, bright blood, kind of all over me, all over the floor. And I realized, like, okay, this isn't good. I need to clean myself. And unfortunately, I didn't really have anything. And so I tried calling out for my husband, said his name. He didn't respond. I thought, well, maybe it's because my voice is too weak and he can't hear me and he's sleeping. Really confused about it. And so I finally just took some toilet paper, wiped myself off. I remember thinking, I just need to take a shower, but I was too weak to really get up. I was still nauseous and dizzy. And so I just kind of sat there for a few more minutes and then worked up the strength to crawl back to the bed and pull myself up and pass out in exhaustion. So last week, when I was doing the therapy and talking to my therapist and recounting this story, the emotions that I was feeling were very powerful, but they were very, like, sad, and felt sick to my stomach again, and confused and lonely, and just this overwhelming, like, grief and a little bit of shame and disgust over, like, I'm a bride, this is gross, it's not supposed to be like this, it's supposed to be beautiful, and it's supposed to be white, not blood and vomit and pain and rape. And so last week was really tough because of just the overwhelming grief. And this last 3 years, it's basically all I've felt. I haven't gotten to anger. I haven't gotten to, those intense feelings of just being so mad and upset and angry at the injustice of it all. It's just been more like sad and hurt and almost self-pity, but not in a victim mindset, but just like, wow, I can't believe that happened to me. That's really sad. And just getting to tell myself, yes, this is sad. This really happened and it was really bad. And everybody else, it seems, in my life got to anger really quickly, understandably. They were angry at what happened. They were angry at him. They were mad at him. It was just and right and good to feel that, but I just haven't had that. So today I came in thinking that we're going to go over another story because, I felt so much better after doing the therapy and talking to her, and I just felt so much more free, and I hadn't had a nightmare in a week, which is amazing. I have them 3, 4, 5 times a week, and I hadn't had one, and I hadn't triggered, and it was great, and I just thought, wow, this is awesome. So I thought I was going to talk about another memory, and I'm sitting there, and she's like, okay, well, let's talk about last week's memory again. And I was like, oh, well, I'm good. It's okay. She's like, that's okay. We'll just, take your marker, see where you are on a scale. Last week on 1 to 10, we started out and you were on like a 15. And then at the end of the session, you were down to like an 8. So that was really good progress. Let's see what we have this week. And I said, okay. So I'm sitting there. I'm holding the little pods, and I'm thinking about the story, and I start telling it. And she tells me, okay, now tell it as if it's happening now. And so I start talking and my eyes are closed, and I get to that spot and I'm sitting in that bathroom. I'm all by myself and I'm alone, and all of a sudden I get this tightness right here, and then I start getting these tingly feelings that are spreading, and then my jaw clenches and my shoulders go up, and I'm holding on to those little pods so tightly, and I'm telling her, I'm saying, oh my goodness, I don't know what this is, but my jaw is shaking, and I'm just so, and she said, you're angry. And it was this incredible light bulb jolting feeling, like, yeah, I'm angry. I'm mad. I'm upset. It's disgusting what he did. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe he did that. And it was just overwhelming, all-consuming. Can't even explain how heavy this anger was. I've never experienced anger like this ever in my life. And she said, well, if you could give it a size, how big is it? Is it as big as this room? Is it as big as the ocean? I said, it's as big as the universe. It's bigger than the universe. It's huge. It's massive. She says, okay, well, what's the color? Give it a color. And it was like, okay, it's so bright. It's the brightest white. It's as bright as the sun or brighter. It's blinding, piercing, so white. She says, okay, how heavy is it? All I could think of is it's as heavy as Thor's hammer. Like, there's nothing heavier. There's nothing I can attribute. It's heavier than a tank, a house, an elephant, anything. It's so heavy. And it was consuming me, and I could not relax, and I could not breathe, and I was getting flushed, and it was just so powerful. And all of a sudden she just says, okay, now I want you to put it away. What? I'm finally experiencing these incredible emotions, and we're not going to talk about it, and we're just going to leave it there and put it away. I could not wrap my brain around that. And she says, okay, well, keep your eyes closed and just talk to the Lord about it. Tell him where you want to put it, and just you and the Lord. And I said, okay, do you want me to say it out loud? And she said, no, this is personal. You and God, talk to him. And so I sit back and I breathe, and I'm talking to the Lord, and all of a sudden I just think about where I want to put it, and I have this safe spot that I put things, and it's this beautiful place, and it's where I want to be all the time. It's this beautiful grassy knoll. It smells so good. It's like perfect breeze. There's a gorgeous massive tree with this huge safe that nobody can see, that everything goes in, all my overwhelming feelings, all my overwhelming thoughts, my nightmares, my emotions, my prayers, my tears, my everything, my soul is in this tree, in this safe. And so my first thought is, put it in your safe place. And then I think, no, I'm going to give it to you, Lord. I'm going to give this to you. And he says, so clearly, so sweetly, softly, he says, thank you. Thank you. You're so brave. You're so strong to give this to me. And then flashbacks. So vivid as this video. Flashbacks of me sitting on that bathroom floor, bleeding, vomiting, passing out, scared, afraid, alone, confused, hurt, sad, mad, all these thoughts and feelings. And then God's right there. And then another flashback to other times talking to the NCIS all by myself. God's right there. And then being in a courtroom and feeling like everybody's against me and I'm all by myself and God's right there. And sitting in my room at 3 o'clock in the morning just crying and lonely and sad and hurt and scared, and God's right there. And all these different times, probably 40 different times of me by myself with all this emotion, but God's right there. And he said, Ellie, you just experienced for a moment the massive anger and righteous anger that I've been holding for you. I gave it to you for a moment, and you're choosing to give it back to me because you're knowing that it will destroy you. And you can't put it in your safe place because your safe place wouldn't be safe. And I've been holding this the whole time for you because it's too big for you to hold. Because the only person that can hold the universe, that can hold the anger, that can handle that burning light is me. And I just sat there and I just cried. And I just thought how incredible the love of my God to be holding that for 3 years and not allowing me to have it, not willing for me to have it because he knows it would have destroyed me. He gave it to me for maybe 10 minutes sitting across from a therapist, and it was so all-consuming I thought I was gonna die. And just the relief that I'm experiencing now, knowing that he has it and I don't have to take that on, is the most incredible feeling that I've ever had in my life. I can't even explain it to you. God is so real. He is so present. He is near to the brokenhearted. He collects all your tears. He is there through everything. And not only that, he's holding all the emotions that we cannot physically process and physically handle. And we don't have to. And that's grace. And that's the love of our Savior. And that's the only reason I've survived is because of him. Because he's there and he's holding me. Because that's a piece of me. And it was just one of those times in my life that I'll never forget. I never want to forget it. I want to share it with everybody. Everybody needs to know how real he is. Everybody needs to know that. And if you don't know that, I hope that this has given you a glimpse of what he can do for you. And the torture that you may be experiencing and the pain and the loneliness and the depression that seems all-consuming, and the anger, if it's there yet, if it has ever come to you, he'll take it. He wants to take it. He wants to take it away from you because he doesn't want you to experience it or feel it. And so my prayer for you is that you would let go and you would say, Lord, I want my safe place to be truly safe. I want my mind to be truly free. I want my spirit to be pure and innocent again. And I want to give it to you. And he'll take it and he'll just say, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And I am too. It's hard. It's not easy. I got through it. I don't really know how to end it, so just, I'm praying for you, whoever you are. Pray for me.